Right, and every Tuesday, same time, same minute, we do the legal matters. How are you doing? I hope that you are doing very fine. Welcome to our legal program, whereby we give you different insights on legal matters. And today we have a very unique program for you. We are talking about matters animals. And therefore today we are handling animal laws. Yes, I hope in one way or another you have handled an animal there at home. There are different categories of animals, and today we are going to relook at this matter to see how do you handle those animals, or is there a way that we infringe the animal rights? And we have heard about infringing someone's rights, or infringing company rights, infringing this right or that right. But do we sometimes infringe animal rights? Today we are going to handle this matter in depth to understand in which ways do we infringe animal rights. And if we do, which ones do we mostly infringe? Is our topic today, the animal laws, and welcome to this program. And we are asking one simple question: how do we infringe animal rights? How do we infringe animal rights? You can talk to us and respond through our SMS number 23814, and then we have an alternative SMS number which is WhatsApp 0721 105 and 105, trying to understand on your side, how do we infringe animal rights? Talk to us and you can give us your responses on 23814 and also 0721 105 and 105. Today we are having an expert in that area, Dr. Emmanuel Mutai, who is from the Farming Systems Kenya, who is going to help us to understand more about the animal laws. So therefore, if you have any question for him, you are free also to ask. If you want to understand more about how should we handle our animals, therefore you are free to text him and ask a question. He is going to respond from here. Dr. Emmanuel Mutai from Farming Systems Kenya. And of course, again, our number to ask him a question, 23814 or 0721 105 105. My name is Paul Kagi. As usual, to help me to co-drive this show, I have my colleague Mangichomola in the studio. Karibu sana Mangichomola.
Absolutely, Kagi. Is a very, very beautiful morning, and of course also good to see you. Just as you've said, it's quite a unique conversation that you're going to have. I think we've never tackled something maybe to do with animals for a very, very long time.
Correct.
And apparently maybe even most of our people don't necessarily maybe give a lot of consideration to these beings, but they are very important, they are very pertinent. We know how critical they are, the kind of benefit that we get from them. But have we ever paused to ask ourselves whether we pay attention to their rights? Maybe do we even know that they also have their rights, or maybe you're ignorant? I think this is going to be an eye-opener. We're going to have our guest shedding more light on these laws that pertains to animals and what do we need to know, what our viewer needs to know about these animals. So I think by the end of the show, we'll be looking at some of these animals, and of course we'll be having a shift in our mindset on how even we relate with them.
Yes, one of the things I'm excited to know, Mangicho, sometimes we are heading to the end of the year, and we're having a lot of we'll be having a lot of activities, slaughtering goats and cows and hens. I want to understand if there are some rights when it comes to handling those animals when they come to the end of their life. For example, I hear that you're not supposed to coil the neck of a hen if you want to do it justice.
Yes.
I hear there are some ways that you're supposed to do that.
You're supposed to end their lives honorably.
Yes.
Okay.
And therefore we are asking you one question where you are, that how do we infringe animal rights? Or maybe you have seen someone who is doing injustice to an animal. How do we do it?
Wow.
Talk to us, 23814 or 0721 105 105. Dr. Emmanuel Mutai is from the Farming Systems Kenya. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Karibu sana hapa MBCI TV.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes.
Karibu sana daktari.
Thank you.
A very good morning to you.
Yes, karibu sana, and I believe that anybody want to know who you are in depth, I'll give you maybe an opportunity to be able to introduce yourself. Tell us maybe who you are and what you do.
Thanks, and once again, thank you, Paul and Mola, for having me here today. We shed light on this timely discussion here on animal welfare and animal laws. My name is I'm Dr. Mutai Emmanuel, currently working at Farming Systems Kenya as a veterinary officer, and I've been here for quite a while. I've experienced working with animals, and in the community I've interacted very well with communities using animals either for work and, as you have said, for slaughter, for meat, and also pets. And we have several laws guiding handling of animals, either working with them and rearing them at home and using them as pets. And today I will be privileged to shed more light on the same.
Thank you and welcome so much. And also we are very optimistic to understand more about, I have heard you talking about the animal welfare.
Yes, yes.
So you call them welfare?
Actually, there is a provision. When we get to that act, I will really go in depth. Yes.
Thank you so much. And therefore, just to remind our audience that Dr. Emmanuel Mutai is here to help us to understand more about the animal laws and welfare. And therefore, we are giving you a chance. If there is anything you have never understood about animals, or you have seen someone mistreating animals in a way or another, the doctor is here. You are free to ask him any question or any clarification or what the law says. You are free to do that on 23814 and also 0721 105 105. Maybe to start with, Dr. Emmanuel.
Yes.
Do you think our public understand about animal laws or welfare for that matter? Do you see, the way you have interacted with the public, do we understand Kenyans on the animal laws?
Okay, for my opinion, I will not really lump the world population in one, but what I can say, let me build a case for this discussion. And these laws came from a bill.
Oh, is it from a bill?
It's from a bill. And for it to put in context, currently we are having two bills governing, which is a bill is something which is it's a set of rules formed to change the current laws significantly, or it's a new law coming in place. And for instance, currently we are having one bill, livestock products bill. This will now be regulating the livestock products, and it's up for a public discussion. So anyone should, or somebody should go and read and give their opinion to the relevant authorities. We also have a finance bill for a certain county, and I hope it's now in the public domain and everyone knows that if you own a cat, if that bill passes, you will be paying a 200 bob for that cat every year.
200 bob?
Yeah, 200 shillings. Yes.
Interesting.
So yeah, in Nairobi County there is a finance bill. It's proposed. So if you are okay with that, this was aimed to control the population of cats in Nairobi. So if you are in for that, you will give your public opinion, and if you are out, you will also give your opinion contrary to the same. So that bill, if that bill passes, you will have to comply. Yeah, the public will have to comply with that bill, and now it becomes a law. So the laws which we are discussing today came from a bill, and it was passed either by, and you know, in Article 185 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the national government functions and the county government functions were separated into two, and for our case, wildlife management was left for national government.
Wildlife?
Yeah, wildlife management and conservation, it was left for, that is the reason why there is stringent measures when you are handling wildlife. You cannot go to a game park right now and come back with a donkey, even though we have our bad man having vultures. So like there is stringent measures governing wildlife. But for our livestock, for instance, you meet our donkeys, being beaten left, right, and centers, and you also have poultry or chicken on top of the lorries or fan vehicles being ferried to our major towns. So for our case, you find our livestock are being mistreated, while the wildlife are well taken care of. So you see, the animal welfare and that control was left for the county governments. But we still have these laws governing the same. And for now, the welfare of these animals, There are several acts, and I will start with one. Maybe.
And maybe even before we go to the acts, maybe Kagi, I just remembered, for the purposes of this discussion, now that he has brought the issue of the wild animals, I think we're restricting ourselves
to livestock, yes.
To livestock, or what we can call domestic animals.
Domestic animals.
Maybe if we could actually identify what are some of these animals that we are talking about?
Okay, for domestic animals, right now, these are animals which are having at home, maybe poultry, which is chicken, turkey, goose, and dogs. Then we have caprine, goats, sheep. We have bovines, which is cats, which is cows or bulls. Then we have donkeys, and even horses are being domestic animals.
Yes.
Even dogs and cats. These are the domestic animals we'll be talking about. Yeah.
So they're the ones that you make sure that their rights are protected.
Yeah, their rights are protected. And for you, even for one to own maybe a snake to be domesticated, you have to get a license from a Kenya WS. Yeah, that is the difference. So for those other animals, you have to get a license from KWS. But if we are now talking which, you can just own.
Okay. Which I know we will be going deeper. From where you sit, which is the most molested animal? Domestic animal.
Okay, as of now, I can say with the sensitization of the public and awareness, it cut across all the animals they're experiencing, and they should all be well taken care of. Yes, because if I single out a donkey with all sensitization from that which is done courtesy maybe of Brook East Africa Farming Systems Kenya, Caritas Kitui, and all other sectors involved, I give credit to everyone. These organizations have really advocated for that donkeys. But come now to poultry, we have other organizations also, even pages, even social media, and every general public now advocating for cage-free chicken, not to be kept in the cages. So you see, the welfare of all these animals are now cutting across. Yes.
Yes. Maybe to understand more, how does public understand about the laws pertaining to these animals? How do they know them? Because they are rarely found anywhere.
These are normally shared, maybe it's into social medias and something, and also the service providers, animal health service providers in the regions. And I give credit to our government. Maybe in every ward we have the animal health assistants or animal health providers, which can be reached, and they can be asked on maybe vaccinations. And that is now the public come to the light to know that these animals should be vaccinated. There are posters cycling around. Yes, the county governments are really doing the good job in that. So, and also these welfare organizations or other organizations involved are really doing the good job of sensitizing the public and creating awareness.
Yes. And which organization ensures that or monitors that the laws for animals are honored?
Okay, for this, I can attribute the same. Kenya signed a treaty with the World Organization of Animal Health, and in this treaty, which was signed as per Article 5 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, it's bound us to respect that treaty. So, for instance, there is a British lady who was trending 5 days ago. She whipped a donkey 24 times in a minute. 24 times for 1 minute, and she was banned. She was to participate in the Olympics, but she's now banned from participating in Olympics. So the law which was used on that lady is World Organization of Animal Health laws, and it's still the same. We are bound to respect the same, even though we still have the Animal Cruelty, Prevention of Animal Cruelty Act here in Kenya. Yes.
Who is the custodian of our local laws now from here? Yes, you have talked about the treaty between the maybe WHO or maybe the whichever institution, but from our country, who are the custodians of these laws?
Okay, if I talk about our now veterinary services, we have the DVS, who is the main custodian of our laws now. I report to the DVS.
Oh,
okay.
Is the organization purely based on looking at the welfare of animals, or you do something else?
Okay, we have several sections. It's a broad animal. It's a broad non-government organization.
Okay.
So we have several aspects, like community development aspects, where we ensure that less privileged communities are well provided with social basic needs. Like we see that we have the nutrition sector. I'm in charge of the livestock production sector. We have other sectors also, maybe the water, blue economy and something. Yeah. We ensure several aspects. It's a broad thing. Yeah.
But specifically, you look at the welfare of animals.
It's
the main area.
At large, it's the welfare, but we also look at the livestock production.
All right.
Yes.
Just to remind you that today we are having Dr. Emmanuel Mutai, who is from the Farming Systems Kenya, and today we are talking about the animal laws and their welfare. If you have a question to us and to him, our number is here, 23814 or 0721-105-105, and we want to know from you, how do we infringe animal rights? How do we infringe animal rights? You can tell us either yourself or maybe you have seen someone infringing the rights of animals on that number 23814-0721-105-105. Before we have a skit that is going to also help us to understand more about this. Mangicho, maybe is there any background information that you need to get from him before we get the skit?
Maybe before we go to the skit, maybe you could even just help us to understand some of these basic rights. I know most of our viewers and even maybe most Kenyans, we are so much into human rights, but people maybe may not really be aware of this.
As per the Prevention of Animal Cruelty Rights, that is an act which was passed. Animal has 5 rights, which is referred to as freedoms of animals, and these freedoms are enshrined, and it compels us, we should follow and abide by those and ensure that we provide. And maybe I can say freedom number 1, which is the main one, is freedom from hunger and thirst. And this freedom, we should provide to our animals food and water ad libitum. That is, whenever they want, they should take it. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So for that, you should ensure that if you're owning an animal and you don't provide food and water ad libitum, that is, whenever they want to drink or whenever they want to eat, you are infringing their right as per the Prevention of Animal Cruelty Act. Yes. Then we have number 2 is freedom from pain, injury, and diseases, and that is now where we come in as vets to check on the diseases and injuries. And also for pain, a farmer or an owner can be inflicting the pain to the animals, and maybe during the slaughter, maybe during the movement, or maybe forcing them to work. So you are infringing these rights of these animals. That is freedom from pain, injury, and disease. Then we have another one, freedom from fear and distress. Animals should not be kept in a place where they fear or distressed. I think all of us, we all saw the horses being used at maybe some kind of war or something, and the bombs and the loud bangs, maybe vehicles, and that horse has never seen a vehicle. So maybe if you intend to use a horse, maybe where there will be loud bangs of noises or people running around, you should introduce them to that condition first, accustom them. They should be aware that will be used in this kind of situation, for them not to fear. If you scare an animal or then you put them in distress, you are making them, you are infringing their right as per the Prevention of Cruelty Act.
Yes.
That is number 360.
But Kagi, before you continue, we've seen quite a number of calls in our towns.
Yes. And again, something crossed my mind a few days ago during demonstrations, whereby sometimes our security agents use horses to chase away.
Those ones have adopted.
They take a lot of tear gases. You see?
Yeah, they were now infringing that right from them. Yeah, and
but then I have remembered one was injured. I think
one was injured.
One was actually aired.
So since that is now the work they are supposed to do, those war horses, I think they are accustomed or made, but they should not be exposed to tear gas, because now it will not really extreme. Even tear gas, they should not be tear gas, because they cannot help themselves like human beings. If you throw tear gas to me right now, I will go and get a glass of water. But a horse, it will be hard. Maybe a vet will only know that this horse needs to be wiped, maybe their eyes. So should not expose these horses to tear gas. But since that is the work they are supposed to do, they should now be accustomed to the same, like make them not fearful when they hear the noises. They should know that maybe that there is something just going on, but I'm the one taking this police officer to go and do this kind of work. So they should be accustomed not to be made to fear. But those also in town, their freedom also is being infringed because nobody is taking care of them, nobody is providing water, nobody is providing food, nobody is providing security. They can be beaten all around, they can be knocked down by vehicles. So they don't really have to be in town, but I think it's a gap here in our major towns. And we also have another freedom, that is freedom from stress and discomfort. Like if you keep your animals maybe in towns, that animals will not access shade, and in case of rains, they will be rained on. So if you own an animal, they should have a shelter, and to prevent them from sunshine, and also to prevent them from rains. So yeah, even those hailstorms and dusts, they should be prevented from the same. Yeah, that is a fourth one, a fourth freedom or a right which this animal have. Then we have also another one which is now a very good freedom to express their natural behavior. Like you see maybe the donkeys when they are, even the cats, the reason why they were imposed 200 shillings is because maybe they were making noise during mating, but in the Prevention of Animal Cruelty Act, these cats are free to express their natural behaviors. They should make that sound while mating. They should talk like humans. So like, people should not punish the cats because they are talking like humans, but the owner also should be responsible not to cross to your fence. Yeah. They should provide enough shelter and shade and food to stay in their compounds. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, I know that we'll be coming maybe to specific animals in our discussion today, but one of the things that we want us to check on the skit today is regarding to dog. As much as we are looking at the rights of these animals, we also help us to understand how the other person uses an animal to infringe the other person's rights, okay?
That's right.
For example, you know, the issue, I could remember one day I went to visit someone in the village and I was ambushed by 2 dogs. And they really damaged my leg, you know? And the owner didn't even care, even take me to the hospital. We want to understand when such kind of situation comes, do you have laws that govern that?
And did you accuse the owner or did you accuse the dog?
I don't even know. I didn't have the
Can the dog be
knowledge. And therefore today I fear dogs so much. Today we have a skit on the same, and therefore after this, Dr. Emmanuel, you are going to help us to understand more about what is happening here, and therefore, dear viewer, you can have a watch on this.
Hey! Tulia, nini bado? Hapo
Nini mbaya nini? Unaniuliza nini mbaya? Unaona hizi nguo zako venye zimefanya mtoto wangu?
Sasa unataka nifanye nini?
Unaona? Hebu angalia. Unaniuliza unataka nifanye nini? Unaniambia ufungie mbwa saa hii ama ufungulie. Si ndio unasema?
Mimi mbwa zangu kama aliumrua huku ndani, hiyo ndio shida.
Na kwa nini usifungie mbwa zako? Kuna sheria, acha nikuambie.
Saa hizi zishafungiwa.
Hebu angalia mtoto wangu.
Usijali mama.
Saa hii hata kesho na kesho kutwa ataenda shule.
Si borake haponi.
This is too much. Acha nikwambie, unless ulipe hizi pesa. Hii tetanus ya mbwa ni very expensive. Acha nikwambie.
Panyo uliniona usiku wewe. Mimi nilipe.
Haya, unaniangalia hivi unaona siwezi, si ndio? Unaniangalia hivi unaona siwezi?
Mama.
Si ndio?
Mama.
Huyu mtoto ni wangu, mimi nimesikia uchungu ya huyu mtoto. Wewe.
Mama, mimi nitakupiga kofi.
Na ninakwambia usinizoe. Usinizoe.
Mama, unaona vile mamako anakuja hapa kujifanya fanya.
Hebu lipa hizi pesa tafadhali.
Mimi.
Lipa hizi pesa.
Oh.
Kama unataka tu niachane na wewe roho safi.
Mimi.
Shika.
I am the shauri yako.
Hebu angalia ile bill.
Kaa hapo.
Ninakwambia utarudi huku.
Ati?
Oh,
unataka
unlipe mtoto
Unataka kumwa na umbwa?
Fungulia.
Ingia.
Fungulia.
Si uingie.
Wewe utatuingia. Funga. Lakini acha nikwambie kuna serikali. Utajua hujui.
Unajifanya mkali.
Nakwambia utalipa yote.
Ingia.
Utanikoma na nakwambia utanikoma wewe.
Ingia.
Utanikoma.
Mama bure kabisa wewe.
Nakwambia hizi umbwa, wacha nikwambie. Siku 2 nimekupea, utazikosa.
Ingia pale uziwe ndio zile.
2 minutes. Siku ngapi?
Enda.
Hebu niangalie vizuri kwa video.
Hapo.
2 peke yake.
2 peke yake. Ingia pale ndio zile. Au kikaona hapa. Cha kujifanya mkali hapa sasa. Enda uziwe. Kimuona hapa. Kwanza muingize hiyo mguu ingine pia aumwe. Sura ya mama.
Yes, Mangicho, that's how things are. I am a culprit of that.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from.
Yes.
You are a victim.
Before we go for a break, we have around 2 minutes. Dr. Emmanuel, maybe you can give your insight on what has happened there.
I really feel for that child. It's sad and sorry for her, even though it has kids. But as far as I know, law is not emotional. that man seems to be right, but the law, you can't really combine the law and emotions and say, or something say she didn't know that she entered somebody's compound, but it's a wide range of discussions, and I think we will discuss. It cannot take 2 minutes, yes. But for me, what I liked about that video, the mother first went to the hospital before coming to engage that person, and even though it was not the right thing to do, there is other channels of solving conflicts in the societies. Maybe you go to the local authorities. It was not the right thing to go and confront that guy. Even
Should
though
have reported to the police.
Yeah, that is, you follow the channels of solving conflicts in the community, maybe report to the local police stations, write a statement, because if that dog was rabid or having rabies, and maybe she said that the tetanus for dogs is very expensive, and as far as we know, if that dog was rabid, there is a protocol that should have been done. It should have been a rabies vaccinations first instead of tetanus vaccination. So if she was given what she said, tetanus, it means within the next maybe 2 months we will not be having that child, because rabies doesn't have a treatment. It should be vaccinated. It's vaccinated, not treated. So maybe in the next 3 months we will not be having that child, as per the mother's convention that it was treated with tetanus only. And but for also the guy is right. Maybe that child trespassed to his compounds, and those are the security dogs. So you can really tell him nothing. It's only the police to solve that conflict or a charge. And also, as a disclaimer, this is not a legal advice. So we have the legal channels and other advocates who can present your matter to courts. Yeah, we are just trying to understand the law, but we should follow the channels. Yeah, that matter.
Yeah, we will be able to understand more about that. Also, I'm thinking about a situation where those people who put their goats and their sheep on the road, and then we have a he-goat. Yeah. And then the child comes, and then he or she is pushed by the he-goat, and then can break a leg. Okay. You see, they push you from behind. Yeah. We want to understand whether that one you can sue someone for that or something like that. But I think we are going to look at that in depth, just to remind our audience that today we are talking about animal laws, and today we are having Dr. Emmanuel Mutai from Farming Systems Kenya. We are taking a short break. When you're coming back, we have much more for you. Don't go too far.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Ndama ni mtoto wa ng'ombe. Kichengo ni mtoto wa nani?
Hey, come look at this.
Ate nini?
Kichengo.
Kuna kitu inaitwa kijego? Najua mjego tu.
Penye miti?
Kuna baridi. Kuna baridi.
Nataka unikamilishie methali. Penye miti?
Panamanki. Panamanki.
IQ yako iko wapi? IQ yako iko wapi?
IQ. Mimi sina. Mimi sina.
Call Collins, call, I'm calling, call. Rudia mara 3 mbio mbio.
Collins, Collins calls. Collins, Collins calls. Collins, Collins calls.
Next on.
Siniulize kwa nijui vile simu yako huwa inaitana ama vile inalia.
Hair pool cream for your natural hair growth. Nywele 500 customer, mea nywele 500 customer, mea nywele 500 customer.
Tunatafuta mheshimiwa, amekuwa summoned wala hapii kwenye koti. Sawa sawa madam.
Mama look like mheshimiwa.
Kwa hivyo hata vitu zenye tunatumia kwa hii nyumba hujui kwenye zinatokana.
Oh, okay. Kwani ni unapeana na huyo mashuga mami? Kwani hao ndio umeweka? Bali wacha nifanye hivi, wacha niende, wacha nikuache.
Kuna ya mafuta hapo, kuna ya boga.
Hii.
Ende ununue.
Chukua wewe ukanunue nayo hiyo mafuta unasema.
Kama hutaki kutumia hizo pesa, wacha na ende upike kenye utapika. Atukule, tunataka kula. Tuko njaa.
We, ni nini? Utaniua.
At the Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies, TVET College, we combine theory and practice to ensure students develop unique and innovative skills that are required in today's world. RVIBS prides itself as a leader in teaching excellence and a world-class center of research and intellectual creativity. Through our innovative hub, African Tech Space, we nurture students' innovative ideas. As you join RVIBS, we will help you get a grip on your training and providing a personalized study environment as well as an ideal and quiet atmosphere favorable for learning. Seize the moment and grab the opportunity by applying for these market-driven and internationally recognized programs that will unlock your potential. Visit our Nakuru main campus near the railway police station or at Biashara Center, 3rd floor, or call us on 0715 111103. You can also apply at www.rvips.ac.ke.
My name is Pasi Kihumba, the Principal Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies. I take this opportunity to thank our students, parents and supporters for this far, and I also take this opportunity to welcome you into our July and September intake. Welcome to train with us.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
And we are back on our Legal Matters Friday. Today we're talking about animal laws. Sawa. You can also tell us what you think about the way we infringe our animal rights. You can do that through our SMS number 23814. 23814 0721 105 105 is our WhatsApp SMS number. And before we went for a break, Dr. Emmanuel, there was an issue of the dog attacking a young one. And the question we want to understand from you is, what does the law say about when you're attacked by a dog, either in somebody's homestead or outside his homestead? And you talked about something interesting here. I didn't know that once you are bitten by a dog, you're supposed to report to the police station, to police first. Yeah, can you explain to us about that?
Okay, what I said about being bitten by a dog. If you're bitten by a dog, the first step to do is to save yourself first. That is, you wash where you are bitten with running water and soap for 15 minutes. The next step is to go to the nearest hospital or a facility where you will be guided by a technician or a human medic. So you will be guided on the next steps, whether vaccination or treatment. That will be now upon the hospital to do the same. But now if you feel like your rights were infringed, maybe you were in your compound and a stray dog came and bite you and it was belonging to a neighbor, that is now the dog maybe has trespassed, and that is will be now governed by other sections of the law, infringing your right as a person, not even as an animal first. And I said, for instance, you can go to the nearest police station to report the matter, since that is where we are legally required to report our matters first, and that they are the ones responsible in taking care of us. So you will not really go and confront that other person, because you are not the one. The police are the one to maintain law and order, not us. Yes.
Yeah, because many people believe the moment you are bitten by somebody's dog, even in his own compound, the owner of that dog should compensate you. That is what people believe.
Yeah, maybe yes, they should compensate, but when you go to court, you will be asked about where did you report, and obviously it should be a government entity, maybe the chief, the police, or the Mbakumi if it's recognized, or the NPR. So you report to the nearest where it's legally binding at the courts. You will be asked where is your OB number. For instance, lately maybe you find your dog, it has been poisoned. It has been poisoned by your neighbor, and you want to start a conflict. The best thing, if you have evidence or you suspect, the police will come and fact check and fact finding mission to come and check, and they will now make the person or the court will now make the person to compensate you, because who will do the valuation if you want your neighbor to compensate you before even reporting the matter? True. So it should be have an order. Then it's not even you will be making them to pay, because maybe even you are on the wrong yourself. So a neutral person or a judge or a legal person should come, or a court should come and solve that matter, or arbitrate the issue between any individual infringed.
And actually, still on that, Kagi, I think Daktari can also weigh in on that, especially when it comes to the issues of dogs. I don't know how the law envisages these, because sometimes in some areas, Daktari will find that there are so many dogs that maybe have been let on the loose. You don't even know who the owner is. Some of these dogs will even find most of them having been knocked by vehicles on the roads.
That is a very serious issue, and in September, actually, this is very timely. In September, we will be celebrating World Rabies Day, and we have several organizations, and one is really outstanding, Kenya Society for Protection of Animals, and the Trap, Neuter, Release, or Rehome. These are the two organizations who are really coming in handy on these stray dogs, and which maybe they have the owners or they do not have the owners, and there is this influx of dogs in the streets, mainly because even cats. There is this influx coming to the streets. It's attributed to the presence of feed. At your home, you own a dog and you don't give them enough feed. And so this dog will opt to go and find feed in the centers or near the butcheries. You will find them camping around the hotels and butcheries where there is a dumpster or schools. So these dogs are really coming there for food. So for these organizations, you are not allowed to trap or kill a dog by on your own, except for a veterinary officer who understands the mechanisms to control this number of dogs or cats in the streets.
So even the ones that maybe you feel or maybe you've identified as being a havoc, they are causing a lot of danger within your locality, within your community. You're not supposed
you are not supposed to touch animal. The only thing you can report is to report maybe to the police, and also this police no longer contact the veterinary service providers. These are the animal health for the wards assistants or the county director of veterinary services. This will now come in to control that populations of those dogs. And for these organizations which are not really government centered, there are private organizations like Kenya Society for Protection of Animals, for care and protection of animals. They will come now to your place, to that town, check the situation, assess, and first thing they should be done to that animals to protect the interests of the public is to vaccinate against rabies. So these dogs should be vaccinated, all of them, or if you vaccinate 70%, you will control the rabies in for our plan to control rabies in our country, Kenya, we should vaccinate 70% of all the dogs and cats in our country, so that if one unvaccinated dog go and bite a vaccinated one, you have seen these aggressive dogs running around biting others, this rabid. So if it bites a vaccinated dog, it will not contract rabies, and when this one dies, it becomes the end. So if you vaccinate 70, 3 out of 10 will not be able to spread again the rabies, and it will become eradicated. So our aim, but we have not achieved that target because the community doesn't understand really what's really supposed to happen. Even when you see now the legislators thinking, if I impose 200 shillings, I will control the population or I will control the disease. So there is no really understanding between linking the disease or linking the population with the science behind that population. Why are the cats camping at Nairobi? It's because they are a good breeding space. They are breeding. When those dogs or cats get to that feeding site, they eat well, become healthy, and start breeding. So you will find litters are all around. So if these organizations now, and partnering with the CDVS office, that is the county and national government, when they come in and neuter, instead of killing, I know most people want there was these drugs which was being given, and the dog will eat and start bleeding from the nose and it dies around. So that was not a good way, because if you kill one, the remaining now will become hyper, start now having space to breed in that center again. So the only thing we can now do to control this population is to educate people on the good ownership practices of these dogs. Again, these organizations, I have said, come in, trap, neuter, rehome, or rehome, or take them to foster home, take them to their home, or take them to foster homes. And this neutered or this spayed, they don't have now the organs to reproduce, so they will just stay having that meal, and they will no longer reproduce until their demise. So you will find 2 dogs in a center for 20 years. Instead of having 2, and in the next 6 months you are having 12, in the next month you are having 24, these 24 spreads across. So even if you impose maybe you say you pay 200 and leave that dog in that center, what if in the next now 3 months you are having other 60 liters? You see, it will not be a good thing to do. So maybe you now focus on other activities like trapping and neuter, and ensure that all those dogs in that center are vaccinated, so that if they stayed in that center, they are not productive, and if they bite, it will not cause the death of the populations.
And there are 2 situations I have seen with dogs as we dig deeper on the laws regarding to dogs. Number 1, is it illegal to let your dog to astray, or what does the law say? Are we supposed to confine them within our residence instead of just letting them loose? Number 2, I have seen some years back, when you have a lot of dogs which are hovering around the cities and estates, you could see the health officers coming and dragging them to death.
That method of population control was banned due to the law which protect these animals from pain. They are not subjected to animal, even though they are homeless or they don't have their owner, they should not be subjected to pain. So that method of population control was stopped. But now the law, these animals should be provided with food, shelter, as we have said. So if you leave your animals to go astray, run around, you will be exposing them to that pain, injuries, and other forms, which is fear and distress. So they are not really allowed to roam around, and even if you are taking your dogs to the town, it should be leashed. You have seen in these countries, other countries which are developed, even cities like Nairobi, when you walk in streets, you find a donkey, so a dog on a leash or a cat on a leash. So if you are intending to walk to your dog, which is can be endanger the population, you should leash your dog. Yeah. You should work on a leash, yes.
Okay. Wow. And for those also using them as security measures?
Yeah, it's a good...
what are the guide? Yeah.
Dogs, actually, we are, as per the laws, the Prevention of Animal Cruelty Act, it states on how this animal now should be used in trainings, at work. They should be handled at work. There is also a provision for those animals used in schools for training. There are animals used in schools for training. So when you're having these animals, you should ensure that they have their rights. And for Prevention of Animal Cruelty Act, it states on how you can infringe and the penalties. But when you see the reason why it's not really applicable here in Kenya, or the act itself is not really good, or you don't find it attractive to work on it, is because if you find the penalties, maybe for if you are found slaughtering an animal in a bush, a penalty is of 5,000 Kenya shillings. So the benefits, somebody can say, I will usually pay this 5,000 and get out of the court. So it's kind of a back and forth thing. But if we try now to come up with more stringent, tough penalties, it will now make these people not to... And you see, these laws, which I'm talking about, most of them was even in 1996. And the review, the current review of Animal Disease Act was done in 2021. And it was only to introduce a movement permits, which was repealed in 2012. So, like, we really have to review these penalties, because 3,010 was a good sum of money, but now somebody can easily say, I will do this and pay. Yeah.
Maybe I think after we have the Vox Pop, we can now look at the issue of donkeys, which is an elephant in the room.
It's an elephant in the room.
Yes.
Maybe we'll begin from donkey meat.
All right. Yes. And now we want to go to the streets and hear what the public had to say regarding to the rights of animals. Have a look.
Mangisho pamoja na Kagi tumekuja mitaani kwa mara nyingine tena, na tumekuja kuzungumza na wananchi kuwauliza iwapo wanafahamu fika kuhusu haki za wanyama na ni vipi haki za wanyama huweza kukiukwa. Wacha tutakuwa tukizunguka kuweza kupata maoni moja kwa moja mubashara kutoka kwa vinywa vyao, na ni vipi wanadhani itakuwa ni vizuri kuweza kukinga na kuhakikisha kwamba haki za wanyama zinatekelezwa vilivyo.
Proper house ventilated na shade. Cows wanafaa watengenezewe nyumba jiko na shade ili wakinge wakati kuna rain, na feed zao pia inafaa kukingwa isipigwe na mvua ndio wa consume zikuwa sawa kama hazijawa rot. Alafu hens wanafaa wakontroliwe like pest na wapewe wadiwomiwe, kama even cows wanafaa pia wadiwomiwe. Ningependa wasisitize sana kwa rights za ng'ombe, waprovidiwe hizo fees zao na watritiwe pest and disease.
Na haki za nyama, yani huwa zinakaa huko. Kama punda ni mnyama anakuwa, yani huwa anafanya kazi zingine mzito sana, na pale unapata bado mnyama akifanya kazi yake bado yani anadhulumiwa sana, kuchapo hadi unakuta huo anakatwa hadi kama umbo hivyo huwa hutaki kuona hata umbo kwa balabala hivyo. Sasa unashangaa unaiuliza nini? Hiyo ni kukeuka haki ya wanyama. So wanyama wako na haki zao na tunazifahamu vizuri. Mtu anafaa akipatikana akidhulumu hao wanyama achukuliwe hatua kali, because mnyama bado ni kiumbe cha Mungu bado, na ni kiumbe kinafaa kuishi.
Kama ule mnyama anakuwaga ananyanyaswa sana ni punda wa nyumbani. Huyu anatandikwa sana akiwa anafanyishwa kazi ngumu. Hapo ndio wanafaa waangalie sana, juu anawasaidia na wao asanti yao ni kumpiga kushinda wamemfunga. Hiyo ndio naona mwenye anakuwa amenyanyaswa sana mnyama wa nyumbani. Sheria zenye zingefaa ziwekwe, wafai kupigwa, watunzwe mzuri na walishwe venye inafaa.
Wanyama wenye wanateswa sana ni punda. Punda huwaga zinapepeswa excess, especially hata waweki matandiko sairi wanapepea punda. Na especially zinapata isa mkokoteni wakati zinapepa hapa kwa singa wasiwekei ile nini ya kucontrol nini kuumia. So unapata kama ni kuni wanapepa, zinapepa kuni excess, hawapimi ile capacity ya kuni yenye inastahili. So ile kitu yenye ningependekeza ni kwamba punda ipepeswe capacity ya kuni yenye inaweza beba. Kama ni vitu for instance ya kama mkokoteni ipepe vitu kadiri yenye zinaweza, na especially wakati wa hata pundu zinastahili kutengenezewa shade ndio isiwe inanyeshwa, na kuna system mahali kama makwato hii miguu yake ikatwe iwe capacity yenye, na hata wakati wa kutembea inatembea vizuri. Sheria iwekwe kwa watu ndio sasa kama ni kupepesa iwaweze kupepesa misigo yenye inastahili, na mtu akipatikana sana pepesa excess anaweza kuwekewa ashikwe.
Kama punda, kuku, ng'ombe, mbuzi, lakini sana sana wenye wanadhulumiwa sana naona kama ni punda, kwa sababu mostly punda huwa wanapigwa sana na ndio wanatusaidia kubeba mizigo kama maji, mizigo mizito kama sisi. Najua wamama hatutahili kubeba mizigo mizito kwa sababu ya mashida ya migongo na mafupa, tunastahili inatusaidia, lakini sisi tunawapiga sana na kuwakatakata wakati wamekataa kutufanyia kazi vizuri na kukosa kuwapatia chakula jinsi inapasavyo. Sasa tunastahili hawa wakubwa wa veterinary wa livestock watufunze jinsi ya kuweza kufuga hawa wanyama na kuwatunza na kuwapatia matibabu mazuri. So hizo ndio vitu tunastahili kufanya kama wanadamu, kwa sababu hata sisi tuna majukumu yetu yenye tunastahili kufanya ili hata sisi tuweze kufurahisha kila mtu, kwa sababu wanyama na sisi wote ni watu wa Mungu.
Na wanyama wale ambao wanapewa dhuluma ni wanyama kama punda, umbwa, baka, wale ni wanyama wa nyumbani. Wote ni wanyama ambao wanastahili kupewa ulinzi na utunzi bora. Lakini kwa niaba ya wale ambao wanakaa nyumbani unakuta ya kwamba kuna wanyama hawatunzi vizuri, kama vile hawapei chakula ya wanaostahili, na hata kama ni wale ambao wanasaidia binadamu hasa kubeba ama kwa kazi ya nyumbani hawapei utunzi ambao unafaa. Kuna wanyama kama bunda ambaye ni rafiki wa binadamu sana, lakini wakati anafanya kazi ya kusaidia mwanadamu huwa yeye anapigwa, apewe ile tunasema malasi yako yanayohitaji, matibabu hayapatikani kwa wakati unaofaa, na hata unakuta mnyama akiwa mgonjwa bado anaendelea kudhulumiwa akiendelea kufanya kazi. So mimi ningeonelea hali kama hiyo kama ingeweza kurekebishwa ingesaidia sana, hasa mnyama naye ajulikane kama ni kiumbe ambacho kimewekwa karibu na mwanadamu ili kipate manufaa.
Barabara kabisa, mpenzi mtazamaji. Mangicho pamoja na Paul, sasa tumeweza kutemeleza tuliokuwa tumekuja hapa mitaani kuuliza, na ni bayana kwamba wengi wanamtetea mnyama ambaye ni punda, ambaye wanasema anapitia dhuluma nyingi sana, na umeweza kumtetea wakisema lazima kukuweko na mikakati ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba wanyama wa nyumbani na pamoja na waporini wanaweza kulindwa, wengi wao wakiweza kupendekeza malisho bora na mambo mengine mengi ambayo ni ya muhimu katika utunzaji wa wanyama wa nyumbani na haki zao. Mimi ni Silas Chiminingwa.
All right. Now, it's interesting the public are aware that the donkey rights are highly infringed.
Sure.
Okay? And despite that, no one seems to also question when we are infringing the donkey rights.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Emmanuel, what would you take on what the public has said?
What I will say, I am happy that the community right now knows that there exists a right, or if it doesn't exist, they have no moral authority to mistreat the animals, and those owning the animals should treat the animals well. And it's a good thing. We have made a good progress. People now knows that donkeys should also be well taken care of, and I really give credit to each and every stakeholder who is taking part in these campaigns of taking good care of animals and making sure that there's a responsible ownership of the animals. Yes, and for donkeys also, I don't know why they missed a point of donkeys being slaughtered left, right, and center, or these dogs and cats. It was just only mishandling them. Yeah, but there is also aspects of slaughtering cats.
They should not be slaughtered, donkeys.
Yeah, they should not be slaughtered. Reason number one, why I can say the donkey should not be slaughtered. The African Union, in the past 6 months, it was 6 months ago, passed a law, and I said we signed a treaty with the World Organization of Animal Health that we should take care of our animals as per the international organization. We are to comply, and also in our acts we should take good care of these animals. And in case we want to slaughter these animals because they are gazetted as food animals, and the reason why it was gazetted is because a community in Turkana wanted, or they were eating the donkeys and they wanted to be given. So
as
the
you speak,
minister,
is donkey meat legal or illegal?
As I speak, it's gazetted as a food animal. Yes, donkey is gazetted as a food animal as we speak.
Food animal.
Yeah. So you can eat donkey meat. It's safe for human consumption. Yeah. So, but we still have now those challenges in complying with the same.
Yes.
I think it was brought to fore without consideration of several issues which are at place. Like for instance, as a vet right now, there are some drugs which are FDA approved and FDA not approved, which can be used in food animals and which cannot be used in food animals. And I can say I will comfortably use a drug, for instance, phenylbutazone in donkeys, and even other drugs like ivermectin, they are freely used in donkeys. And the same will not be used in food animals, or in a cow maybe which is being milked, and but it's being used in this donkey. And we've slaughtered, we are exposing the public to these drugs being used by vets on these animals. Then also slaughtering of animals as per the Meat Control Act, which is Cap 356, there is a provision on how to slaughter the animals. This animal should not feel pain. Like if you want to slaughter a donkey, or if we are allowed to slaughter a donkey, all the slaughters should be done in a slaughterhouse. And as we speak right now, there is a ban. All the slaughterhouses are closed. There is no slaughterhouse operating. They don't have a license. And as while they were operating, they did not have a meat inspector. Like the meat from a slaughterhouse should be inspected. And if you come across a meat, maybe they are on stakes and they don't have that stamp, that is most likely a counterfeit, because that stamp is linked to a meat inspector. So like it can be traced back. So in Meat Control Act, these slaughters should be done in a slaughterhouse. But as far as we know, or it's in the public domain, if you visit right now, maybe Kedong Valley, in Kedong, you will be shown hills of not really carcasses, bones of donkeys. You will find a hill of bones, maybe fresh ones, and there is also an influx of donkeys moving towards Kedong Valley. But now these people moving there, because there is no movement permit for donkeys. It was banned. We don't issue a movement permit for donkeys. Maybe the trade can be done. Maybe it's one person to another. This was done in a name to prevent public from being exposed to this consumption of illegal meat.
So that means you cannot take donkeys from Nakuru to Nairobi?
Yeah, there is no permit. There is no permit. Wow. If you check on the movement permit currently, that maybe you add it with a pen to script a donkey. So you should obtain a health certificate and everything and justify the reasons as to why you should move. So there is no free. If you want to move a cow, you will go to a market or you find an animal health practitioner there. They will give you a movement permit. Before and first you get this movement permit, you call to a place that you are taking these donkeys, and you get a no objection that they are ready to receive your donkeys, your cows. So currently we are not issuing no objection, and also the DVS also is not issuing the movement permit for these donkeys, and it has really helped in capping this illegal slaughter of donkeys in our butcheries and the same. So
it's completely banned, or is just a suspension?
It was put a temporary ban of 10 years. Yeah, but even in other countries also they have put a temporary ban, and for the slaughterhouses, they are still pursuing the case in court, and it's up to the decisions now from then. But for African Union, they put a temporary ban for 15 years for any trade in donkeys. This is due to the population. It's really, if you the population now, they are really going to extinction, and for us to improve this, we are really finding ways to maybe enhance reproduction or keep what we have and ensure that those farmers using these donkeys enjoys the benefits of these donkeys without being stolen from them.
Still on that, talking about the slaughtering, of course even donkeys and maybe even these other animals, cows, goats and sheep. One is not allowed to slaughter them at home, or maybe with the approval maybe of a veterinary doctor, or they should...
All slaughterhouses, all slaughtering of animals should be done in slaughterhouses. That is as per the Meat Control Act. You should not slaughter your animals at home. So, and there is guiding principles on how you should slaughter. First, when animals get to the slaughterhouse, there is an holding area where a veterinary person or an animal practitioner, animal health practitioner, will examine the donkeys, the dogs. They are not really the dogs, the livestock you are taking there. It can be the goats, sheep, and cows. So they will examine these animals, check on their conditions. That is antemortem, before they die. They examine these animals, and they are now taken to the slaughterhouses. And if those which are any animal which are sent to the slaughterhouse is not allowed to exit alive, because to control the diseases which are in the slaughterhouses. So these animals which are now condemned, maybe the veterinary officer will advise on what they will do with them, but they will now get to a stunning area. Entering this stunning now is to ensure that they don't feel pain. They will be taken through a process where they are rendered unconscious, sleep, and now they are slaughtered. But again now...
They're injected?
Not really injected. Stunning. There is stunning method. I don't really want to describe the process here. Somebody can misuse.
As much as you want to discuss that, I think that is really good, because I remember one day in the village, I saw a man who was slaughtering a cow which was being sold by somebody else, and I was really shocked by the way they slaughtered them. And that's why I think it's important to take them to the slaughterhouse, because I saw that guy coming with an axe.
Yeah, true.
And then he comes with an axe,
in the villages.
You knock the cow on the head with an axe. It loses consciousness, and then you render it powerless. Then you have a chance to be able to do the rest.
So that is now the slaughtering procedure. They are then slaughtered, and vet examined the meat, and they pass it for human consumption or condemn. Now that will depend on them. That is now a post-mortem examination. So all that procedure will not be really applicable if we don't have a recognized slaughterhouse or you are doing it at home. So there is nobody is allowed to pass or use animals or slaughter animals at home. But again, there is a provision for other religious sector. they can slaughter away from slaughterhouse, and it's in the act. And I think it's. I was selling a chicken someday, and somebody told me, "Is it halal?" So I think they can explain further. Halal chicken, yes, you have heard something of the sort. Yes, there is a way they do with the animals. So it's just a provision for them to also be able to enjoy what their religion offers to them.
For the sake of understanding, you have talked about the issue of the slaughterhouse, which really seems to be the center stage for protecting also the rights of animals.
Yes.
Does it mean that every slaughterhouse must have a resident, do you call them the health officer or veterinary or something?
In a county government or the national government, there is structures which they normally do, and each slaughterhouse is assigned to a stamp, meaning that stamp is having a veterinary officer. They should not delegate. So it means every slaughterhouse has a designated meat inspector.
Oh, meat inspector.
Wow. Yeah.
And Daktari, coming back to the issue of donkey, because even as most of the people that were interacting with our reporter are saying, what do you think, therefore, could be some of the major challenges hampering maybe the process of safeguarding the rights and the freedoms of donkeys? Because apparently, most of those that have been interviewed are still saying most of these donkeys still made maybe to carry or to do a lot of work beyond the capacity, the issue of the taking care of those donkeys and so on and so forth.
Having worked or being engaged myself in this advocating for the rights of the donkeys, we realized that the laws which we have currently are really the gap. Because you find maybe an animal health practitioner was issuing a movement permit with a pen indicating only number of donkeys, maybe 51, and also these laws, the penalties are very little compared to the kind of the havoc the people are causing. So you find a person taking one donkey to Kedong Valley, maybe you buy a donkey at 10,000 shillings, take it to Kedong Valley, a skin will cost you this certain, maybe that 10,000 shillings, you will sell at 10,000, you still have meat. So you find the worth of engaging in that malpractice is way much
than the penalty.
So this is making it a business lucrative. But if we had a penalty which is good enough to deter these people from engaging in this illegal activity until maybe they are given a green light by the government to operate from now as slaughterhouses and not subject these animals to the suffering they are going through, maybe they're in Kedong Valley. And also we have...
so when you're talking of these penalties, for example, like if maybe, for example, you are found to be, just as you're saying, be engaging in that malpractice of taking that donkey to Kedong Valley.
Yeah, so for illegal possession of that donkey or taking it, they are legally possessing it, but they're taking them to that slaughterhouses. It will be only charged 5,000 shillings or 3 months imprisonment.
Wow. So most people will get away with that.
You will really get away with that. Even before going to the whole proceedings, you will have willing to pay. You're saying, take me to court. Take me to court. They are even requesting you to take them to court because they know that they will have to pay. Only they will be let free. So the only maybe thing that
it's some more stringent measures.
Yeah, we should have, because they're really scared being found with a meat, because we have a Consumer Protection Act which requires them to pay 200,000 shillings fine or 1 year imprisonment. So they are really strict, or when it becomes now meat and they are transporting to our slaughterhouses, they are devised ways that you can never find them. They were using pro boxes, but you find now meat being transported in brados. Most of our latest people whom we caught with illegal meat from donkeys, they are in brados. So these brados can easily pass through the safety checks. You won't even suspect it's carrying a meat. And they are willing to part with anything to ensure that this meat reach to the public. So
and when that meat reaches the public, it's not even categorized as donkey meat.
It's not a categorized as donkey meat, and they are infringing now the Consumers Protection Act. That is the reason why when we cut them, it now with the meat, they are now being subjected to severe punishment than being caught with a donkey. Even you find one donkey, you found in Mulot, one donkey carrying meat from 2 donkeys. It was really a weird situation, but that is the situation now our donkeys are currently facing.
And it seems that our country has many donkeys. As much as we want to control them, to protect from diminishing, there seems to be a lot, and I wonder where are they?
Okay, so now that is a genuine question, but if you really want to prove this point, right now, take a trip to Namanga, and you will find a really huge number of donkeys being moved from Namanga into our borders and into Kenya, and then now to Kedong Valley in hundreds or in thousands. Yes, we don't have enough numbers in Kenya. Currently, we have in 2010, in census 2009 census, it was in 2009, right? The number of donkeys was 1.8 million
in Kenya.
Yeah, 1.8 million. It was 1.8 million in Kenya, total number of donkeys tallied. Then things went on smoothly, and now these people who are interested with the skin and meat for their own purposes, I think they termed it as a jiao. It was being transported abroad. They slaughtered from 2014, 2015, and in the census of 2019, the donkeys population was 1.1. And in a span of 4 years, from 2015 to 2019, roughly 4 years, they had slaughtered 700,000 plus donkeys. And if the projection now at 2019 was, in 2021, we could not be having a donkey in Kenya. They would have depleted the number of donkeys population in Kenya. Because 700,000 in 4 years, that is just in the next another 3 years, they will be done with the 1.4, 8 years. So it was in 2021 we could not be having a donkey in Kenya. So we really thank the then minister who imposed a ban on the slaughterhouses, and that is the reason why you can comfortably say we have maybe roughly, with the current slaughter, roughly 1 million donkeys. But now if you check on a fact, or you go on a fact-checking mission or a fact-finding mission, you will find that the number of donkeys being brought in through the borders from Tanzania is quite huge, and the reason why it's coming from Tanzania and into Kenya and not the inverse, or when the inverse happens, there is a reason, but it's because Tanzania is very strict on donkey laws and regulations. You are not supposed to slaughter a donkey, or if you are found, you will face very tough measures in their country. But for Kenya, there is a kind of too many freeways, loopholes, which we are really trying. As at first I said, the main setback is the laws and the implementation of those laws. Even if we have that for 3,000, the implementation is quite below the bar.
Right. So, and just one more, Dr. for purposes of maybe even enlightening our viewers, I think is it that maybe most people are not aware of how much work maybe a donkey is supposed to do? Because there is that concern that they are also very much of a burden.
Okay, so if you see in the communities really using these donkeys, for instance, now I've talked about the Namanga border, the Kajiado. These are the communities who own pastoralists. They value the cattle, they value other animals, and these donkeys are left for women. So if you don't have a donkey, that woman will become a donkey, or your wife will become a donkey if you don't own a donkey, because they will have to go and fetch water and back. So these people who are really willing to sell the donkeys doesn't really know the value of the donkey. Like right now, if you go and do a statistics on the value a donkey is bringing to a community. Maybe in my home today, the donkey went to the river and brought some water, and it's waiting for an harvesting season to take this to the market. So these people are really willing to sell without even seeing the value these donkeys are bringing to the market. They are really interested in get rich quick scheme, which the prices of donkeys was roughly 5,000 maybe some years ago, but now it's really like challenging that of cattle. And again, you see, after these slaughterhouses was opened, rampant cases of donkey theft. You could not find again donkeys being thefted maybe in the fields. They are being slaughtered. Even in Subukia, I was told by an animal health practitioner there that even shared the videos and the OP numbers that donkeys are being slaughtered every night, each and every night at least 2. Yeah, you find you tethered your donkey there, they are being slaughtered. So the number of donkeys are very quite slow, but these people who are now interested with these really businesses, and because it's thriving, the operation is still going on despite even the repercussions it has in the community. So we're really facing those challenges, but I can't really attest that we still have the right numbers. And if we continue with this trend, we will really lose the number of donkeys. It will be going to 0.
All right. Yeah. If our director, you are ready, we would like to have the legal profile. We have a segment whereby we profile some of our prominent legal minds in the country. I would love to know whether this segment is ready. Yes.
Absolutely, and today we are focusing on the gentleman on the screen, that is Hon Justice David Shikomera Majanja. Unfortunately, Kagi, he passed on just the other day.
Yes.
And of course, this is also like a tribute to him. So Honorable the late Justice David Shikomera Majanja was appointed judge of the High Court in 2011. He served at Homa Bay, Migori, Kisumu, and Kisii High Courts. He also served at the Commercial and Tax Divisions and at Milimani High Court Civil Division. He has a Bachelor of Laws LLB degree from the University of Nairobi, that is 1996, and also a postgraduate diploma in law from the Kenya School of Law. He also has a Master's of Law, that is LLM degree in International Trade, Investment Law in Africa. Commissioner at the Judicial Service Commission, that is JSC. He's also been the chair, Administration of Justice Committee, again at the Judicial Service Commission. Of course, we've talked about being a presiding judge at Homa Bay Migori High Court. He's also been a member and later vice chairperson of the Judiciary Working Committee on Elections Preparation, that is JWCEP, Judiciary Working Committee on Election Preparation. Just as we've said, he has a Master's of Law, that is LLM degree in International Trade Investment, Law in Africa, from the University of Pretoria, which he got way back in 2005.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, so those are some of the key highlights of Justice David Shikomera Majanja. Just as we've said, he passed on, I think, like 2 weeks ago while undergoing an operation or a surgery. But from the profile, Kagi, he has also been very instrumental in various areas as far as the legal discourse is concerned in the country.
Very true. He was one of the prominent lawyers that we know in the country, and also judges later on, who has been very instrumental in the most prominent cases in our country, Supreme Court, High Court, and all over.
Absolutely.
And lately, the issue of JSC, Judicial Service Commission, he was even posed to be able to renew his contract as the JSC legal representation. Yeah, we have around 5 to 6 minutes to end the program. I think you can also give us now the general overview of what public should now know about the animal rights and welfare.
And what you do as Farming Systems Kenya, even in as much as what we've talked about these laws and what maybe the public needs to be aware, where is the place of FKF.
Is that true? So, in my opinion, my personal opinion to the public, and I would really urge each and every one of us, let's take our animals with the respect they deserve. First, before even we take them as animals, let's consider them as living beings, and also they have sentient feelings. They also feel, they have an emotions. Let's allow these animals to express their natural behaviors. And if you see an animal right being infringed, it's our mandate to speak for them. A donkey being overloaded cannot speak for itself, or a person enforcing the law is not in every village to see that this animal really deserves to have his hoof trimmed. So let's speak for these donkeys. Let's build a generation or advocates for these animals, each and every one of us. Let's participate in advocating for these animals. Let's also ensure that we build a generation for change, make our children know that dogs also deserves to be given food and water, and be given shelter, be confined in a free environment, allowed to don't just keep only one male dog, like allowed to express their natural behavior, like give them a companion or a partner, keep two animals, or allow them, if you have one, maybe allow them to go and have a free time maybe with other animals to express their natural behavior. It's within their rights to do so. So, and also let's ensure that these animals also are given good veterinary care. And in Farming Systems Kenya, we really come in handy, and in sensitization, ensure collaborations, and build on the systems that is existing. We don't create our own systems. That is the reason why maybe I can say we operate in 8 counties with only 4 vets, but if you see the government structures, maybe they have in one county there are over 40 vets. So we build on the existing structures to ensure sustainability. Farming Systems Kenya maybe will be there for implementing the same project for 2 years, but with the capacity building or the mentorship of the animal health practitioners, and also the agrovet attendants and the agrovets owners, this will ensure the sustainability of our programs. And going forward, maybe Dr. Mutai and somebody else will come in, and now County Director of Veterinary Services or animal health practitioner in that region will be able to speak like the way that officer in Farming Systems Kenya was, because they are really mentored. And also we are building a generation for change, like we are reaching out to pupils and taking them through programs like we have donkey care clubs. When you teach a child, we believe that this child will grow, and we saw a boda rider saying that we should take care of these animals. So if you build, nurture that compassion in that child, when she grow up, he or she grow up, even if we become a lawyer or something, or a business person, and once now begin to want these animals, or when they get home, they will build this generation for change. Like in these communities who are normally used to maybe mistreating animals, they can really come in handy in becoming the generation of change, and hence sustainability in ensuring the animal welfare and health are taken care of.
Maybe quick one. One of them is how do you do the sensitization to the public?
Yeah.
The other thing, for example, someone comes across another human being who is mistreating an animal. Where do you report?
Okay, so for the general public, maybe you come through and you come across an animal being mistreated. It's really good to follow the structures of that community. We have a community order in that sector. We have community order, and it's really working, because even if you go to report to DIG, Deputy of Interior or Interior Commissioner, or you go to higher ranks, that nyumba kumi will be left in that village to man the activities of that village. So it's really good you follow the structures of that village. If you are in a center, there is this maybe you can go to a nearest police station, which is the most convenient one, because you will be guided on everything. Yeah, everything, including you will even be given a lawyer to guide you. You are entitled to legal representations. So yeah, if you go to really a nearest police station and report the same issue, it will really be well taken care of. But there in the villages, we still have chiefs, sub-chiefs. We still have nyumba kumi. If you report to a nyumba kumi that there is this dog biting people in this village, that nyumba kumi, as there is a bylaws, there can be a bylaws in that community. So we really respect the existing structures in that community. We don't give an advice like, right now, stop now going to nyumba kumi and start doing this. So maybe a child maybe can tell the teacher, report to your teacher. If you are a child in school, you are bitten by a dog, you should report to the teacher or straight to the parent. So there is really these systems which we are really trying to build and ensure that it's sustainable.
Okay.
Yes.
On the same, in this program, we teach ourselves on various legal terminologies. At this juncture, I want to give Mangicho Mola to teach us on one terminology.
Absolutely. And of course, we have that particular segment that we prepare for you on our legal terminology for the day. And that is the term there, clemency. Clemency. And Kagi, they say clemency is the power a president possesses in federal criminal cases to offer a legal reprieve to a person, and of course, to a person convicted of a crime. Governors also have this power in state conviction. So it is the power president possesses in federal criminal cases to offer a legal reprieve to a person convicted of a crime. And we are also saying governors also have this power in state convictions. So especially happening maybe in this particular case for governors, maybe in the justice system, maybe in a country like the United States of America. But that is what we mean by the term clemency.
Yes. So when the president pardons or allows you to go home, the clemency now comes in. Right. I think we can come close to the program.
Sure.
Yes, we want to thank you so much, Dr. Emmanuel Mutai, for finding your own time to come and share with us about the animal laws. And when times allows again, we will invite you to come and help us more and more.
You're welcome.
Yes, and on behalf of the whole crew of the Legal Matters, my name is Paul Kagi. I'm wishing you a blessed week ahead.
Of course, it's been a pleasure having you on today's edition of the Legal Tuesday. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow for an edition of the Leadership Wednesdays. Until then, we wish you a blessed afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your week. I am Mangicho Mola.